Navigating the Heart. Who is Dragging You? By Ock Soo Park. Chapter 4. Wisdom. True wisdom is knowing your shortcomings. People think that they are good. They may not express it outwardly, but inside they believe, I'm better than others in this. This is due to the insularity of never having met someone greater than themselves. Doctor, 4/4 of your life is sinking into the river. From time to time in life, people are deceived. When this happens, they are unable to believe in others. So instead of believing in others, they end up believing only in themselves. People who believe only in themselves accept whatever they think exactly as it is. Living like this is extremely insecure and dangerous. And because no one is perfect, no matter who it may be, a person's judgment cannot always be right. This is why, after he makes a decision, he needs to follow up to see whether or not his judgment was right or wrong. But people who believe in themselves live following their own thoughts without going through the process of examining themselves. There was an elderly boatman who made money by ferrying people across a river in his small boat. Because there weren't many customers, he would cross the river only 3 or 4 times a day. One day, a successful doctor who was originally from that town wanted to cross the river. The boatman began to row his boat. This doctor had left his hometown at a young age, studied hard, and become a famous man. When he looked closely at the boatman, he realized that it was the same boatman who had been rowing the boat when he first left the village. In the doctor's eyes, this man, who had spent his entire life as a boatman, seemed so pathetic. So, in an effort to show off the fact that he was well educated, the doctor began to speak to the boatman. Mr. Boatman. Yes, doctor. Mr. Boatman, do you know anything about philosophy? What is philosophy? I've never heard of that in my entire life. You don't know anything about philosophy? Life itself is a philosophy. If you are living without knowing what philosophy means, it means that 1/4 of your life is as good as dead. The boatman was a bit offended after listening to the doctor, but because he didn't have a formal education, he couldn't really say anything. He remained silent. Soon afterwards, the doctor asked him another question. Mr. Boatman. Yes, doctor. Mr. Boatman, do you know anything about literature? Literature? What is that? I know litter, and I know ature, but I don't know what literature is. How in the world is that possible, Mr. Boatman? If you had known what literature is, you could have written such beautiful literature yourself while you lived on this beautiful riverside. You are telling me you don't know any literature. Mr. Boatman, 2/4 of your life is as good as dead. Because these were words that were coming from a famous doctor, he listened, but it started to make him quite bitter inside. While the boatman continued to row the boat, the doctor asked him another question. Mr. Boatman, I'm sure you know what astronomy is, don't you? Astronomy? I don't know about those kinds of things. When the evening sky is red, that means it will be clear the next morning. When the morning sky is red, it means that the day will be cloudy. I know that much, but I don't know what astronomy is. What do you do with astronomy? Ha ha, Mr. Boatman, have you been rowing on this boat without even knowing what astronomy is? Mr. Boatman, 3/4 of your life is as good as dead. Now the boatman was really offended, but because he could not say anything, he simply swallowed his anger and continued to row. Then he made a mistake. There was a rock sticking out in the middle of the river. It was a rock that he would have usually dodged very easily, but that day he didn't see it, and the boat crashed into the rock. All of a sudden there was a loud bang. The crash had created a hole in the middle of the boat, and the river water began to flow in. The boatman then quickly asked the doctor, "Doctor, do you know how to swim?" "No, I don't know how to swim. What do I do?" "What do you mean, what do I do? Doctor, 4/4 of your life is now sinking into the river." People like to express the need for equality, especially politicians who are running for office. However, while the people in the world claim to want equality with their mouths, there is no one who truly desires it in their hearts. People want to be better off than others. They don't want to be in positions that are better and higher. They want their sons to be more successful than everyone else's sons. In actuality, they do not want equality. No matter what civilization or nation, people cry out for democracy and equality, but in actuality, people like to establish themselves in ranks and levels. They feel excitement in the fact that they are better off than others. That is a pleasure we all feel in life. Some people bluntly boast that they are better than others. Then there are others who do not express it outwardly, but inwardly they say to themselves, "I'm so great, I'm so smart, I can do everything well." When people have clear thoughts in their minds that they are better than others, pride is formed. Then they begin to despise and belittle others, believing their own thoughts to be more correct. Then they begin to live according to their own thoughts. As a result, the way they live life becomes more and more tumultuous, and it becomes more difficult for them to have relationships with other people.